Hey everyone, my name is Ava and welcome to class. So, and my special guest here, Ozzy. So today's class is going to be focused on inversions. What are inversions? So inversions are any posture where your heart is higher than your head. So you may have taken my class when we were having classes at the rec. I teach an inversion class. So basically there are several components to having successful inversions. And an inversion can be anything really that fits that criteria. It can be, a bridge pose. It can be arm balances. Any down dog is even an inversion. And then handstands, which is what we're going to be working towards in this class. So for this class you will need a strap, or I'm using a scarf. You can literally use anything, a belt, and we're going to use that for some shoulder openers. Hi Ozzy. And your mat, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna start. I hope you guys can see me okay. All right, so we'll start on our mat. And I'm just gonna explain a few components to inversions for you. So, all right, the first thing for successful inversions is the locks, or the Banda. So in inversions, we use our Bandha, which is basically stomach lock. So the best way for me to describe this is basically, imagine that you're sitting here kind of like I am, and I'm gonna go fishing, okay? Yeah? So I'm gonna go fishing, and I have my fishing pole, and then I'm gonna cast my fishing pole, and then the hook is gonna go down your crown of your head. The hook is gonna go down the crown of your head, and it's gonna go down, 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 and then it's gonna hook onto your belly button, and then your belly button is gonna be hugged in and up. So it's like, you're not sucking in. This is what it looks like. I hope you guys can see. I'll come a little closer. So this is what it looks like. This is me regular, yeah? And then this is the Banda. So I'm not sucking in, I'm not tensing my abs. This is, I can fully breathe with this Bandha, and it takes a while to get it. So if you feel inside your stomach, it should be really, really hard, yeah? So, so this takes some practice. So don't beat yourself up if you can't figure this one out today. But again, it's like hugging the belly in and up. So you're literally trying to touch your abdomen to your spine. Like that's the movement there, yeah. So that's the first thing. And then the second part is shoulder opening. So we'll go through some shoulder opening, but in any, even down dog, plank pose, you wanna make sure that your shoulders are open and that you know where to strengthen, what muscles to use in your shoulders in order to get the correct technique in a handstand. So we'll do some shoulder openers, and yeah, then the third component is hips. And so you need to have open hips in order to be able to kind of kick up properly in a handstand. So we'll go through some hip openers as well. Yeah, so if anyone has any shoulder injuries, I would probably hold off on this class for now, because you need your shoulders in order to do these inversions. But yeah, so if you can't do anything, the reason why I love this practice so much is because inversions and hand balancing and all of the cool stuff that we see on Instagram, it gives us something to work towards, yeah? So it's a really beautiful goal, and these are a huge part of my life. I do, probably 2 hours worth of hand balancing training per day, and it's totally changed my yoga practice. And my yoga practice mainly consists of these types of movements. So sorry you guys, I hope it's not too loud with audio here. But yeah, so then we'll begin. We're gonna start by opening up the wrists a little bit. So come onto your mat, and then we're going to point the inside of the wrist out, yeah, so like this, and we're gonna just rock back and forth to open up the insides of the wrists. Always breathing. And then you can start to make these circular movements. All right, now we're gonna flip it over so that the tops of the hands are down on the mat, and then I like to come back a little bit more. This really helps to open the tops of the wrists. The wrists, it's kind of a journey strengthening the wrists in order to properly do handstands. But if we stretch out the tops of the wrists after all of our handstands, then it really helps take the strain off of the inside of the wrist. So another way to do this stretch that I love is you bring your hands, like you have your, I don't know if you can see this, but you have your hand like this, yeah? And then bring your thumb to the outside, fingers on the inside, and then you just kind of rock back and forth. This is one of my favorites. It's really gentle. Yeah, so these are really nice. Just kind of like stretch, open the wrists, so that way they're ready for the handstands, yeah? All right, so then the last little wrist opener that we'll do is just get the fluids and energy moving into the wrists, you know, moving back and forth like so. Yeah, and then switch directions. Oh, that feels very awkward, I know. Okay. And then just shake it out, yeah, nice. All right, so now we're gonna do some shoulder openers. So grab onto your strap or your scarf, like what I'm using, because I don't currently have a yoga strap. And then we're gonna take it pretty wide, yeah? So if you have really tight shoulders, take it even wider, but you wanna have it so that it's stretching you. So yeah, come onto your knees, and you can have your hips on your heels with your toes tucked under like me, and then yeah, we're just gonna do these shoulder dislocations. I don't know, that's what I call them. So really just opening up the shoulders, bringing some energy into the shoulders, and continuing to breathe. Yeah, feeling that nice, open. And the reason why we do these dynamic stretching rather than like fixed stretching in the beginning is because we really want to prime the muscles and get them ready while still opening up this area. All right, so next time you come forward, we're gonna bring it in a little bit closer, so however close is comfortable for you. And then we're just gonna do these pulses, back, back, back. Yeah, like that. Opening up the upper back, opening up the shoulders. What's up, Oz? Gonna practice with us? Yeah? All right, that's enough. So you can leave your strap or your scarf, makeshift strap, to the side. And then we're gonna come into a tabletop position. So we have our hips over our knees and our shoulders over our wrists. So now that our shoulders are open, we're just gonna walk this forward until the chest meets the mat. You wanna have the chest and the chin on the mat. If it's not there, that's okay. Sometimes the shoulders are really tight. So yeah, we're just doing this to open up the shoulders a little bit more. Breathe into this pose. This is also called melting heart pose or anahatasana. And I love this one. This is so beneficial for opening the shoulders, and this one really helps me just to kind of relax also. So breathe here. We'll take 3 breaths, 3 deep, deep breaths. All right, now we're gonna take the hands together and get an even deeper stretch. This is gonna stretch not only the shoulders, but this stretches the lats, which is another muscle that we use in our handstand. So palms are together in a namaste position, and then just bend the elbows up. Yeah, nice. And if this is too intense for you, you can also do this in child's pose. Continuing to breathe. Trying to work the chest closer to the mat if it's not already. All right, now bring it back down, and we're gonna just bring our elbows hugged in, and then just press up nice, yeah. All right, come into a neutral spine, and then we'll do some cat-cow. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, shoulders back, gaze up, and try to really tighten your spine. Hug in all of those spine muscles to get your head closer to your butt. And exhale, round the spine, tuck the tailbone, really spread through the lats, and then bring the head down. Inhale, belly drop, tailbone lift, shoulders back, gaze up, and really just tighten the entire spine. This is active, this is not passive. We're really just strengthening through that spine, trying to close the gap between our shoulders and our glutes. And again, tuck the tailbone, arc the spine, and then look towards the belly, or round the spine rather. And really focus on spreading those lats, yeah? Trying to open up the shoulders too, not just the spine. Inhale, belly drop, tailbone lifts, shoulders back, gaze up, and try to just really hug that spine and tense the spine, shoulders towards the glutes. One more exhale. We're gonna tuck the tailbone, press those lats, spread those lats, and look towards the belly. And inhale back to a neutral spine. All right, so we'll do a couple hip openers as well. So the first hip opener that we will do is from down dog. And I want to make sure that you guys all have a really good foundation of down dog, because a lot of people don't do this pose right. I'll come a little closer so you can actually see me. All right, so we start in tabletop position, yeah? Hips are above the knees, shoulders are above the wrists. Now walk the hands like 5-6 inches in front of you, and then tuck the tailbone, tuck the toes under, and then, yeah, so, oh, I'm sliding. I'm gonna come back to my mat. Okay, So with this, the hands are shoulder width apart and the feet are hip width. So make sure that your feet are in line with your hips. A lot of people will have them too close or too far away. So make sure that they're right in a line. Okay. If your heels aren't touching the mat, that's totally fine. This is very active. So your legs, we'll start with the legs. The legs are strengthened, tightened. Both quads are lifting up, both kneecaps lifting up, yeah? Hips are reaching back. Bandha is engaged. See this? This is rock solid, yeah? And then we're lengthening through the spine and spreading the lats. It's like I always go around to my students in class and I'll give them a hands-on adjustment by pushing their triceps back. It's like a tricep rotating back, yeah? Then press through the arms. And your head should be away from your shoulders. So we don't want this. We want this nice, elongated, beautiful down dog. All right. Kick the right leg back and up, keeping the hips squared. And inhale, bring the nose, knee to the nose, and then drop that right foot between the hands, okay? Now bring the right palm on the inside and then walk the right foot onto the outside. And then we're just gonna take some like rocks back and forth here, settling in here, and we can drop that back leg. All right. Now we're gonna come down onto our forearms if it's accessible for you. If you're not there yet, that's totally fine. So we wanna really breathe into this. Opening the hips. We'll do 3 deep breaths here. All right, come back onto the hands. Tuck that back left toe under, and then inhale. Press back to your down dog, lift that right leg, and then bring the right leg down. Other side. Kick that left leg back, keeping the hips nice and square. I like to always point the toe when I'm pointing back. It makes for this really beautiful line, and if you wanna, you know, work on, ooh, my hamstrings are tight, yeah? So, all right. Inhale, knee to nose. Drop the left foot between the hands. Make sure that your knee is directly above the ankle. And then we're gonna take these rocks forward and back a little bit, yeah? Settle in here. All right, now walk that back foot to the outside, walk the left front foot to the outside of the left hand. Drop the right knee, untuck the right toes, and then, ooh, we're gonna come down onto our forearms, and I am tight. Breathe into this, yeah? We'll do 3 deep breaths here. All right, come back to the hands. Tuck the right toes under, lift that back leg, and then kick that left leg back up, square hips, and then exhale, bring it down. All right, we're gonna do 1 more hip opener. I'm just gonna check on the time. Oh, we're good, okay. So, 1 more hip opener here. So we're gonna bring the legs out wide and try to bring your hips as close as you can. I know a lot of people are tight here, so we're gonna be in a straddle. Yeah, so now we're gonna kind of walk it down and then come down as far as you can. And then we'll take 5 deep breaths here. Keep the legs engaged, keep the toes pointed. slowly come up. And then we're gonna bend the knees, feet to the mat, and then we'll just do some inner rotations here. Loosening it up, yeah. All right, so let's get into some inversions now that we're all warmed up. We only have 45 minutes, but I usually could teach like a 2-hour workshop on this. But anyways, so we're gonna come into our tabletop position, and then the first pose that I'm gonna show you guys is Bakasana, or crow pose. Many of you have probably done this. A lot of people don't do this correctly, so I'm gonna show you the correct form. Yeah? So, actually we'll come into plank first. So bring the hands forward, tuck the toes, inhale, hips up and back, down dog. And we'll do a couple waves of into plank. So we wanna really tighten that bandha, spread the lats. We're like hugging, you know, like the arms and the lats and the chest are all engaged, yeah? So we're coming forward into plank, and it's like there's like a mountain underneath our arms and our chest. We're just trying to squeeze it. Imagine, like, I don't know, what's a good analogy? There's like a beach ball. You're just trying to squeeze it there. And then your hips, your heels, and your shoulders are all in one line. But see this? This is how tight you need to be. You need to really strengthen through the pecs, strengthen through the entire chest, shoulders, arms, spreading all 10 fingers. All right, exhale back to down dog. Okay, so we are going to, oh, I'll take my socks off. Sliding a bit there, yeah. So we're gonna start in down dog, and then come onto the tippy toes. Walk the tippy toes towards your hands. And when they're close enough, you're gonna bend your knees and bring your knees into your armpits. This is the correct alignment for crow. So bring your knees into your armpits, and then we're gonna bring all the way into the hands. Do you see how I'm tenting my fingers? I'll come closer so you can see. So when my hands are down, I'm tenting my fingers. This helps keep all of the pressure off of the wrists. So, a lot of people do this. This is not correct. So, you can do it that way, but this way is more challenging, and it's something to work towards. So, knees into the armpits, tent the fingers, weight forward, one leg, and then the next. And we're hugging the heels into the glutes, yeah? Pressing through the hands. All right, so this is the correct form for crow. You can come down. So I'll show you what a lot of people do, which isn't, most teachers wouldn't say it's wrong, but it's not fully correct either. So a lot of people will just use their triceps as a shelf. And I give you the option to do this too, until you can do it this way. Yeah, you can use the shelf. Just don't get too comfortable in that, because this is very easy. So we'll start the same, hips up, and then on the tippy toes, bring the knees down, and you're gonna just kind of like use your triceps as a shelf, and with your shins on the triceps. And then it's like this, but this is not very challenging. Sometimes it is for some people, but we want to work towards the correct form in this. Also, I've had a lot of people tell me that they're trying to shoot back from crow to chaturanga, the correct way to do that is by having a correct crow, because when I'm trying to shoot back into chaturanga from here, I'm already starting in chaturanga arms with my elbows bent, and so it just gives you less of that kind of mobility, that leverage where you're already there, so it's easier to drop your belly and it's harder to stay up. So now I'll show you with the correct form of crow, yeah? So knees into the armpits and then bring it up. My arms are straighter, they're not in chaturanga arms. And then you're just gonna shoot your legs back, tighten through the glutes, tighten through the abs, and then you hug the elbows in. And so that's just something to work towards. All right, so we did crow, and there's a couple more arm balances that we'll do. Crow is awesome because when you have crow and you have a handstand, you can actually float from crow up into your handstand and then float back down from your handstand into crow. Those are really challenging moves, but I'm telling you, anyone can do this. That's the best part about it, is that anyone can have a handstand practice and anyone can become advanced in their handstand practice. It just takes some determination and patience because they're not easy. All right, so the next, it might be easier if I'm closer, but all right, so the next pose that we're gonna do is another arm balancing pose. And I don't know the name of this pose. I don't know the name of any, there's like 8-angle, fallen angel. I don't really pay attention to the names as much as I pay attention to like how they feel in my body. So we'll start with crocodile. So croc is a cool pose, and it's kind of like using the same strength all within here. So like when you're doing these, you should be totally strengthened. This is so solid. It's like, imagine that you're trying to like keep yourself up and your life depends on it. Like that is how tight you want to tighten your chest. So, all right, I'll show you crocodile pose. So you're gonna bend your arms. So you can start with like your knees on the floor or whatever, and bend your arms. So this is gonna come into my obliques, like right in the middle between like my abs and my obliques. That's where this elbow is gonna go. This elbow is what I'm balancing on. So you're gonna come down, yeah? And then bring your, it's harder when, you might wanna bring your shirt up a little bit so that way you can like press it into the skin or else it might slip. So elbow in, yeah? And bring your legs up. And then you can someday go into full croc. But yeah, I'm not very warmed up right now, so didn't hold it for very long. All right, let's do that again. So the floor is kind of hard. I'm probably gonna be bruised after this, but anyways. So you can have your arms a little wider than shoulders. See, like you can have them like this, slightly wider in this. And the main thing is that like that arm that you're resting on, like, so I always say like, I mean, kind of feel into what feels best. But I think that what's best for me, what feels best for me is that I use my non-dominant, I'm a right-handed, well, I'm kind of ambidextrous in that I can do a lot of gymnastics things lefty too. But for these, I mean, I can do both sides, but it's easier to start when you're balancing on your non-dominant side. That way, when you go to lift your fingers to kind of fly this arm out, you have the ability to do that with your dominant side. So yeah, we'll do this one more time. So bend that non-dominant elbow in, rest it, and then kick the legs up, strengthen through the glutes. Nice. So I'll turn so you can see this arm is like a kickstand. Eventually you won't even need this thing. This thing is just gonna fly. Yeah? So it looks like this. And then eventually All right, that's enough. I'm gonna check on the timing. 30 minutes. All right, so we'll do one more arm balance, okay? This one is a little easier than croc. So, all right. For this one, we're gonna start in down dog. Yeah, tighten those bandhas, strengthen through the legs. Lats are spreading, nice. Triceps tucked under, come onto the tippy toes, and then bring yourself into a plank. So that's the motion of the body. But we're gonna add a leg in there. So we're gonna kick that left leg back, and then we're gonna bring it around, bend the elbows, and then try to get this as far up on that left arm as possible, and then we're gonna fly. And you wanna really tighten through the glutes, tighten through the legs. All right, so we'll do that one more time on that side, and then we'll do 2 on the other side. And then we'll get into our handstands, because I know that's what everyone's trying to do. Everyone's trying to go upside down. So, all right. Come into down dog, yeah, tighten. Get all those micro movements in. Like everything that I tell you, you should always do in down dog, no matter whether you're in a vinyasa class or whether you're doing these with me. All right, come forward. Bring that left knee to the left shoulder, straighten, bend the elbows, and launch and fly. Nice. You don't have to shoot back like that, but it's just fun, and it really strengthens your shoulders when you do that. All right, so other side. Okay, so we're gonna come into our down dog. Can you guys see me okay? Yeah. Down dog, all those micro movements, the legs, the bandha, the lats, the triceps. Now bring that right leg up, yeah? Bend that right knee into the right shoulder, come forward, bend the elbows, and then launch. And if you aren't coming out of this the way I am, you can just come out of it like that. All right, let's do that one more time. All right, kick that right leg back, bring the right knee into the right shoulder, bend the elbows, and launch. So one thing I want to mention is that whatever arm you are like, so this, I'll show you from here. All right, so you're still bending this into your oblique. So it's kind of just like croc. It's the same thing as croc, honestly. The only difference is that one of your legs is kind of planing out here. So it looks like this. Yeah, like that. Or you can get it even higher by going like this. So one arm's here, one arm's here. All right, let's kind of shake the wrists out a little bit, and then we'll do a couple more of these. Bring the thumbs to the outside, fingers on the inside, and let's rock a little bit back and forth. Stretch out the wrists. I know you guys are probably feeling it. All right, cool. So I'm just gonna check on the time. 34. Okay, so we have time for headstands too. So for headstands, there's 2 ways. Well, there's multiple ways to come into these, but 2 ways that we're gonna go over. So I'm gonna bring this a little closer so that you guys can see me better. You won't be able to see my legs when I go into this, but you'll be able to see what my arms are doing. So, the easiest way to get into a headstand is the tripod, but I don't like the tripod. The tripod's cool if you're working towards other arm variations, but the most protective thing for your neck and for your spine is the basket hold. So we'll do the tripod first. But the one thing that I want you guys to really be mindful of is your neck. So you want to keep your neck completely elongated, yeah? So we don't want it crunching in like this. We want it nice and long. So that is very important so that we can protect the cervical spine. So for this one, you can come onto your knees, tuck the toes under, and then you're gonna bring your palms back towards your knees. And then you're gonna bring the top of your head down. So it's literally the crown of your head. You don't wanna be forward, you don't wanna be too back. It's the top crown of your head. And see how there's like 6 inches or maybe 4 inches between my fingertips and my face, my forehead. So you wanna have it like that, yeah. So the hands are shoulder width apart. Kick the hips up, and then you can start this way by bringing one knee onto one tricep and the other on the other, and then come up. Really tighten through the abs here. And then we're hugging those inner thighs in, tucking the tailbone, strengthening through the Bandha, keeping that neck integrity, that cervical integrity. Tighten through the glutes. And then to come out, you can come out the way you came in. That's the tripod. So you guys can practice that. But I really want you to work towards the basket hold, because the basket hold is much better for the neck, and it just feels better. It feels better on the crown of your head because you have more stability. So, all right, the basket hold, first thing I'm gonna show you is that your arms are like this. And this is the basket for your head. So it's like this, and you're gonna hug your elbows in. So hands are interlaced. Hug the elbows in, like that. All right, so back on the mat. All right, so we wanna plant our basket down. This is our basket. This is like the safety net for the head. And get your elbows in kind of close together. You don't want them splayed out like this. You want your elbows tight, hugged in together. Your shoulders are like back. So you're bringing your shoulders back actively. You don't want your shoulders up like this. Shoulders down and back, scapulas down and back. Now bring the top of your head, and you can press the back of your head into your hands, and then come up. So you can bring one leg up, and then the other leg up. And then when you bring your shoulders back, that helps you press your arms into the mat. So this is really nice. This feels really good. I could stay here all day. This is so restorative. Helps you really tap into the calming nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. So we'll breathe here. Keep trying to get into this. This is so helpful for your body, for your mind. Anytime you're in a bad mood, do one of these and it will go away. And then to come out, we'll tuck it in and then come down. Those are just the best. And headstands are so simple, but they're so nice, and they really help a lot. So let's do that one more time. Let me check on the time really quick. All right, we've got 5 more minutes, so we're not gonna do another one of those because I really wanna get into handstands. So I'm gonna bring this back so you can see my whole body. Okay. All right, so handstands. Handstands 101. This Banda is so important. And I tell my students all the time whenever we're in class, you can walk around like this. You can tighten your Bandha and walk around like this and get used to this. This will help. This helps for women, for the pelvic floor, to strengthen those pelvic floor muscles. This helps with, you know, the Bandhas help immensely with digestion. And yeah, so you can really just walk around like this and it'll strengthen your abs. You can fully breathe like this. It's Great. So we want those bandhas there, yeah? Throughout the whole handstand. The second you lose that bandha, you are gonna have banana back, which I will show you. Okay, so we start in down dog. Legs engaged, bandhas engaged, yeah? Lats are spread. Okay, so we're gonna shorten our stance a bit. Oh, and spread all 10 fingers, shorten the stance a bit. And then you're gonna kick up your dominant leg, yeah? And then we're just gonna start doing these little hops. So the object here is to keep the bandhas tightened, keep those arms pressing into those hands pressing into the mat, press your arms away, press your shoulders away, and then this right leg, well, both legs really, they're gonna have an inner rotation. So you're tilting your pelvis forward a little bit, and then you're having an inner rotation, tilting your tailbone forward. So we'll come up onto that non-dominant leg, and we'll just hop. And then you keep hopping until you can bring that non-dominant leg up. So when you bring it up, you really want to tighten through your entire body. These are not a passive pose. Everything is active here. Toes remain pointed the whole time. And you really want to hug your thighs in, yeah? Keep kicking, but don't kick too much. Keep kicking. So, you can do these against the wall, but when I'm telling you banana back, some people kick up too high and they lose that, the bandhas, they lose the integrity with the thighs and the hips, and then they look like this. That's banana back. It does not look good, does not feel good, and I see everyone doing that. So we do not want banana back. Not even when we're walking on our hands do we want banana back. Banana back is a no-go. And it's easy to do that with banana back. It's easy to do a handstand like that. But I see people are always like, oh, like let's do a handstand competition. I'm like, you can't do banana back and walk on your hands during this. You have to stay still. So let's do this again the right way without banana back. So we're gonna shorten that stance, bring the non-dominant leg up, hug those thighs in, and then hop. Not forgetting to breathe. 10th of fingers, yeah? Split, whoop, and then come down. So, that is the correct way to do an intro-level handstand. Don't be afraid to kick a little bit more to get yourself up there. If you have your shoulders, your lats, your scapula, if you have everything engaged and you have the correct form, you're not going to topple over. So let's try this again. Tighten that leg. Tighten both legs, yeah. And then bend that non-dominant leg, tippy toes, and then come up. So, how did that feel? I can't hear any of you, but I hope that felt good. And I encourage you to keep working on these. You can do them against the wall, and then when the wall's there, you can kick as hard as you like. I always tell people, kick less. Kick less and let the mechanics, let the technique do the work for you. So when you get those really dense ab muscles and you get those really tight leg muscles that can withstand that, and you have the correct technique with your shoulders, you're like this, tightening all of this, tightening all of this, like you're tightening your lats, you're tightening your pecs, you're tightening everything up here. Like when you have that correct form, you don't need to kick as hard because your abs and your shoulders will kind of bring your legs up. So we'll do this one more time. All right, start in down dog. We engage everything. And in these, you don't want your elbows to be bent and shooting out like this. You want your triceps to be wrapped back. Come forward, tent the fingers, spread the fingers. You don't have to tent the fingers, but I find it easier. And then bring those, okay. And then bring those triceps back. Come onto the tippy toes and come up. And you can just stay like this all day. But we won't because class is ending, so feel free to take a nice long shavasana after this. You can do any shoulder stretches you like. Make sure to do those wrist stretches after, yeah, like this. And yeah, take a really nice long shavasana. Thank you guys so much for practicing with me. I have so much fun teaching this, and I truly just love it. This is my favorite practice, so I hope you all have an amazing day, evening, whatever time you're watching this, and I hope to see you again next week. Namaste.